The intergalactic bureaucracy center on Station Nexus 9 was exactly as soul-crushing as every other government office I'd ever visited, with the added bonus of being staffed entirely by species I couldn't pronounce and operating under laws I didn't understand. But when you're a freelance human courier trying to make a living in the outer territories, sometimes you end up filing paperwork for clients who pay well and ask few questions. That's how I found myself at Windows 17, clutching a data slate full of documents for the Jaltari Trade Consortium, trying to explain to a six-armed bureaucrat that, yes, I was authorized to submit these forms, and no, I didn't actually understand what half of them meant. Sign here, here, and here, the bureaucrat droned, manipulating three styluses simultaneously. Retinal scan, genetic sample, and final authorization signature. I signed where indicated, let the scanner read my eyes, pressed my thumb to the genetic sampler, and scrawled my name one last time across the bottom of what I assumed was a receipt. The bureaucrat processed everything with mechanical efficiency, stamped each document with 4 different stamps at once, and slid a confirmation chip across the counter. "Congratulations on your marriage registration," they said in a bored monotone. "The Jaltari Matrimonial Court will contact you regarding your bonding ceremony schedule. Next." I stood there, frozen. "I'm sorry, what?" "Next." The bureaucrat was already waving forward the person behind me, a being that looked like an ambulatory fern. I stumbled away from the window, staring at the confirmation chip in my hand. Marriage registration. I'd been filing trade documents, import-export licenses, corporate partnership agreements, not marriage documents. My comm link buzzed. Unknown number. I answered it because at this point, what else could go wrong? "Husband," 3 voices chimed in perfect unison, melodic and eager. "We've been waiting to hear from you." "I think you have the wrong person." Marcus Chen, human, age 28, freelance courier, currently residing in temporary quarters on Station Nexus 9. The voices, definitely female, definitely plural, recited my information with unsettling accuracy. "Our matrimonial registration was just approved. We're so excited to finally meet you in person." My blood ran cold. "There's been a mistake. I didn't register for any marriage. I was filing business documents for a client. The Jaltari Trade Consortium, yes, our family business." The voices sounded delighted. "Father hired you to courier our matrimonial petition to the bureaucracy center. Didn't he explain?" "He explained nothing." I was aware I was shouting into my comm link in the middle of a crowded government office. I didn't care. I thought I was delivering corporate paperwork. "Oh," a pause. "Oh dear, you didn't read the documents before signing them. They were in Jaltari legal script. I can barely read standard Jaltari." "Well," the voices sounded almost sympathetic now. "That is unfortunate, but the registration is legally binding once processed. By signing the final authorization, you agreed to matrimonial union with the 3 of us under Jaltari law." I sank onto a nearby bench, my legs suddenly unable to support me. "This can't be legal. I didn't consent. I didn't know what I was signing." "Did you not receive payment for your courier services?" "Yes, but—" "And did the client not provide you with all necessary documents and instructions?" "Yes, but I thought—" "Then according to Jaltari law, you entered into the agreement willingly and with full access to information. That you chose not to translate the documents before signing is not the fault of the matrimonial court." The voices, now I could hear they were three distinct speakers, just eerily synchronized, took on a more formal tone. However, we understand this is unexpected. Perhaps we should meet in person to discuss the situation. I don't even know who you are. We're your wives. They said it so cheerfully, like it was the most natural thing in the universe. I'm Sira, the eldest. I'm Myra, the middle sister. And I'm Kira, the youngest. We're the daughters of Jalter Consortium Director Velmoth. Father arranged this marriage as part of a diplomatic alliance with humanity. You were highly recommended by the Couriers Guild for your discretion and reliability. Discretion in delivering packages, not in marrying alien strangers. Well, you're our alien stranger now, the one called Sira pointed out. The registration is processed. Under Jaltari law, we're bound until either the marriage is formally dissolved through the courts, a process that takes approximately 7 standard years, or until we complete the bonding ceremony, which makes it permanent. 7 years. I'd accidentally signed myself into a 7-year marriage with 3 alien women I'd never met because I didn't bother to translate legal documents. This was exactly the kind of disaster my mother warned me about when I left Earth. Where are you? I asked tiredly. If we're going to discuss this disaster, we might as well do it face to face. We're en route to the station now, should arrive within the hour. We'll meet you at the central plaza by the fountain. Kira, the youngest, sounded genuinely excited. We're really looking forward to meeting you, husband. Please stop calling me that. But it's legally accurate, Myra chimed in. Would you prefer spouse, bonded partner, matrimonial co-signatory? I'd prefer Marcus. Of course, Marcus, husband. All three said it in unison, and I had the sinking feeling they were messing with me. I ended the call and stared at the confirmation chip in my hand. 7 years minimum to dissolve this. 7 years of being legally married to 3 alien women because I'd been too lazy or too trusting to run a proper translation on the documents. The Couriers Guild was going to have a field day with this. I was sitting by the fountain in Central Plaza, contemplating my life choices when I heard them. Marcus, husband, 3 female voices speaking in perfect synchronization. I looked up and immediately forgot how to breathe. The Jaltari sisters were gorgeous. They moved as one unit, their movements synchronized like a choreographed dance. Each stood about 6 feet tall, with skin that shimmered between deep violet and midnight blue depending on the light. Their hair, long, flowing, and silver white, seemed to move with a life of its own, floating around their shoulders as if suspended in water. They had the same facial features: high cheekbones, large expressive eyes that gleamed gold, and delicate markings that traced intricate patterns across their skin like bioluminescent tattoos. The only differences between them were subtle. Sira, the eldest, had her hair bound with golden clasps and carried herself with regal confidence. Myra, the middle sister, wore hers in an elaborate braid and had a datapad clutched in one hand. Kira, the youngest, let her hair flow free and practically bounced as she walked, her golden eyes bright with curiosity. They were, without question, the most beautiful beings I'd ever seen, which somehow made this situation even worse. You must be Marcus. Sira reached me first, extending her hand in the human custom. I'm Sira. It's wonderful to finally meet you in person. I shook her hand mechanically, too stunned to do anything else. Her skin was warm and incredibly soft, with a faint texture like brushed suede. Yes, I'm Marcus. Look, about this whole marriage thing. You have questions, of course you do. Myra stepped forward, her data pad already active. I've prepared a comprehensive briefing on Jaltari matrimonial law, cultural expectations, and the dissolution process. Would you like the abbreviated version or the complete legal framework? I'd like to know how to undo this as quickly as possible, I said bluntly. Kira's face fell. You don't even want to try? Something twisted in my chest at her disappointed expression. It's not personal, I didn't sign up for marriage to anyone, let alone 3 people I've never met. We understand. Sira gestured to a nearby bench. May we sit? This conversation will be easier if we're all comfortable. Once we were settled, them on one side, me on the other, like some kind of bizarre negotiation, Sira folded her hands in her lap and met my eyes. Our father did not fully explain the situation to you, and for that we apologize. It was deceptive, and you have every right to be angry. Her golden eyes were sincere. However, we were equally uninformed. We believed you were a willing participant in an arranged marriage between our family and a human representative interested in fostering diplomatic relations. So we're all victims of your father's schemes? I asked. Essentially, yes. Myra consulted her data pad. Father has been increasingly concerned about our unmarried status. In Jaltari culture, bonded trios like ourselves are expected to find a 4th partner by age 30. Sira turned 30 last month. We've been rejecting suitors for years, Kira added. Father got desperate. Desperate enough to trick a human courier into marrying you? Desperate enough to believe that if he forced the legal binding, we'd all have to make the best of it. Sira's expression was apologetic. He thought if we met you in person, the attraction would develop naturally. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's insane. Yes, all 3 agreed simultaneously. We sat in awkward silence for a moment. Then Myra cleared her throat. The dissolution process is complicated but possible. It requires mutual consent from all parties, extensive legal documentation, and a waiting period of 7 standard years from the date of registration. However, she paused, consulting her data pad. There is an alternative. What alternative? We could proceed with the bonding ceremony within the next 30 days. If after living together for that trial period all parties agree we're incompatible, the marriage can be dissolved immediately with no waiting period. Sira watched my reaction carefully. It's designed to allow arranged matches to end quickly if they're truly unsuitable. You want me to live with you for a month. We want to give this a genuine chance, Kira said softly. Father's methods were horrible, but, Marcus, we've been searching for our 4th partner for years. Every Jaltari suitor we've met has been intimidated by our synchronization, our shared consciousness. They see us as one entity instead of 3 individuals. Shared consciousness? That explained the synchronized speaking. We're a bonded trio, Myra explained. Born as triplets, we underwent the Jaltari bonding ritual at age 13. It linked our minds telepathically. We're still individuals, but we're also connected. We share emotions, thoughts, sometimes even physical sensations. That sounds overwhelming. It can be, for us and for potential partners. Sira leaned forward. But humans are known for adaptability, and your psychological profile, you ran a psychological profile on me? Father did, Myra said quickly. Standard procedure for arranged marriages in our culture. It suggested you have high emotional intelligence, strong adaptability markers, and a natural inclination toward polyamorous relationship structures. even if you haven't explored that consciously. I stared at them. You're basing this on a psychological profile your deceptive father commissioned. No, Kira's voice was quiet but firm. We're basing this on the fact that you're still here, listening, instead of having stormed off in anger. We're basing it on the fact that when you look at us, we can see curiosity beneath the frustration. We're basing it on, she glanced at her sisters, on hope, maybe. Hope that your father's insane scheme somehow works out. Hope that maybe something good can come from a bad situation. Sierra's expression was earnest. Marcus, we're not asking you to fall in love with us in 30 days. We're asking you to give us a chance to prove we could be compatible. If at the end of the trial period you want out, we'll sign the dissolution papers immediately. No 7-year wait, no legal complications. And if I say no to the trial period, then we begin the 7-year dissolution process now, and we all spend the next several years legally bound but living separate lives. Myra's tone was practical, which seems unpleasant for everyone involved. I looked at the three of them, these beautiful, strange, synchronized beings who were apparently my accidental wives. The logical part of my brain screamed that this was insane, that I should run for the nearest shuttle off station. But another part, the part that had spent years drifting through the outer territories with no real connections, no home, no family, that part was curious. 30 days, I said slowly. 1-month trial period. We live together, we see if there's any compatibility, and if not, we end this cleanly. All three faces lit up with identical smiles that made my heart skip. 30 days, they agreed in unison. But ground rules, I continued. No more calling me husband until we figure out if this is actually going to work. Separate sleeping quarters during the trial. And complete honesty, no more schemes, no more manipulations. Agreed. Sierra extended her hand again. We'll arrange accommodations large enough for 4. Our family owns a residential unit here on the station. Of course you do, I muttered, but I shook her hand. Myra was already making notes on her data pad. I'll draft a formal trial period agreement with the terms we've discussed, both Jaltari and human legal frameworks recognized. Kira bounced excitedly. This is going to be wonderful. We have so much to show you, so much to teach you about our culture. And so much to learn about yours, Sierra interrupted gently, placing a hand on Kira's shoulder. To me, she said, we truly will try to make this work, Marcus, not because we're legally obligated, but because, well, because we'd like to. I stood, and they rose with me in that synchronized way that should have been creepy but was somehow mesmerizing. I must be completely insane. Probably, Myra agreed cheerfully. But in our experience, the best adventures start with a little insanity. And questionable decisions, Kira added. And bureaucratic mishaps, Sierra finished. Despite everything, the shock, the anger, the sheer absurdity of the situation, I found myself smiling. Well, I've certainly achieved all 3 today. As we walked together toward their residential unit, the 3 sisters chattering excitedly about their favorite human customs and which Earth foods they wanted to try, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just made either the best or worst decision of my life. Probably both. But for the first time in years, I wasn't alone. Even if my new companions came as an accidental package deal with matching golden eyes and a tendency to finish each other's sentences. I'd signed a lot of contracts in my courier career, but this was definitely the strangest delivery I'd ever made. especially since apparently I'd delivered myself.